Well, Carla and Steve, right behind me is the house undamaged where this all happened, but by looking at it, you would think all the action happened next door. You can see right there the garage smashed through, but this wasn't where this happened, but this is where Metro had to use this house for tactical reasons as part of that SWAT negotiation, and now the people who live here want that damage fixed. It was a chaotic scene, SWAT crews taking over an entire block, guns drawn, a man inside a house. Throughout that whole time, neighbors were blocked out, but when it was all over, the shock for this next-door neighbor didn't stop there. You were not happy.
No, I was not. I was very upset. I was very traumatized by what I saw.
This is how she found her garage door, smashed in. Metro says they had to use her garage to position themselves to surround the house where they say this man, Jason Spierig, was barricaded inside with a large machete and his family.
I somewhat anticipated that they were going to have to use our yard, but to find the garage door destroyed, I was very surprised.
Metro says they do whatever is necessary in the situation to save lives, even if it involves other people's property. And it's not the first time this has happened either. Back in 2013, we covered this case where an entire condo looked like a war zone after crews took over to access a man holding a hostage. Metro says when cases like that happen, the owners can get reimbursed.
Now I was informed this morning to call, get estimates, and then they would possibly reimburse us.
But to do that, they have to fill out this form and get 2 repair estimates and explain why they feel Metro is responsible.
It's probably going to take some time, but we'll fight it, because we were told it would be reimbursed.
Metro says damage is sometimes the cost of doing business, if it means tense situations like this one can end peacefully.
Definitely, especially because there was a young girl in there. Absolutely.
Well, you can see right now that garage is boarded up right now. Metro says they don't have an exact timetable for when those repairs would be made. Now, as for how much it costs and how that works, it's all part of Metro's budget from a risk management fund, which comes from your tax dollars. Reporting live, Tom George, 13 Action News.
Thank you, Tom. Authorities are concerned tonight there may be more victims out there following the arrest of a sexual assault suspect. Contact 13 investigative reporter Stephanie Zeppelin is live at Freedom Park, where investigators say a woman was attacked. Stephanie.
Steve, police say the victim was walking in the area near Freedom Park when this man brought her into the park, pulled her in here in order to sexually assault her. Let's get you a look at who this guy is. It's 34-year-old Joseph Warren. Warren faces several charges, including sexual assault and kidnapping. And that victim was an adult woman. We talked with several people at the park this afternoon who said they're not surprised it happened here.
There's a lot of homeless people around the parks at that hour, so I don't know. People tend to stay away, especially families. We tend to just come like at this hour, and at night, not really, not to the parks.
Warren was convicted as a sex offender in 2006. North Las Vegas police arrested him in 2015 for peeping in a stranger's window. He was arrested by Metro in 2016 for the same thing. Police believe there may be more people who came in contact with Warren, and they want to hear from you if you know this man or have been one of his victims. Live, Stephanie Zeppelin, 13 Action News.
Thank you, Stephanie. New at 6, the city of Henderson is cleaning up after vandals left graffiti and started 3 fires at Boulder Creek Park. They say it's happened several times over the past couple of weeks and shared this picture of some of the damage. 13 Action News reporter Gina Lazara is looking into what happened. She'll tell us what she's finding out coming up tonight on 13 Action News Live at 11.
And we're continuing to follow the latest developments in the trial of former MMA fighter War Machine. His ex-girlfriend and porn star Christy Mack was on the stand testifying all day today. That testimony just wrapped up about an hour ago. It was the second day that she was on the witness stand.
Is this the portion of your leg that was kicked by the defendant?
I don't know if he just kicked me or what all he did to my leg, but that is the damage to my leg.
And what do you mean by that?
I don't remember every second of him kicking or hitting me.
War Machine is facing more than 30 charges, including attempted murder, sexual assault, and kidnapping. At New at 6, in the past 2 days, 5 people who were supposed to protect our most vulnerable citizens have been indicted, and now most of them are behind bars. But their crimes didn't happen under the cloak of darkness or in the back alleys or in secret back rooms. They often happened in courtrooms. Contact 13's Darcy Spears continues her investigation into the broken guardianship system to see who else should be held accountable.
Purcell was indicted on 44 felony counts of theft and exploitation for allegedly stealing more than $50,000 from the special needs trust account of this man, Jason Hansen. That just one day after private for-profit guardian April Parks was indicted as the alleged ringleader of this group authorities are calling a criminal syndicate. The four, arrested Wednesday in law enforcement actions across the country, are facing nearly 300 felony counts. They're charged with isolating elderly and disabled people from their families and systematically draining their life savings in the last months of their lives.
I'm saddened to say that most of the victims that are part of this criminal indictment have since passed away.
April Lynn Parks, husband Gary Taylor, business partner Mark Simmons, and attorney Noelle Palmer Simpson allegedly stole over $500,000, according to this criminal indictment. It was handed down Wednesday, 2 years after Contact 13 first broke the story about April Parks and her business, bilking those the court assigned her to protect.
When I get to that age and somebody tries to put me under a guardianship, I'm probably going to come out kicking and screaming too.
She's accused of filing hundreds of false documents with the court and committing perjury, which begs the question, where was the oversight? Every one of Parks's alleged victims were wards of the court, conscripted into guardianship by people like Commissioner John Norheim, who's been removed from all adult guardianship cases, and family court judge Charles Hoskin.
There are other agencies and other departments within Clark County that are somewhat responsible for what I call a failure.
Part of that failure even included fraudulent medical records, which the court allowed Parks to use to prove people needed a guardian. Contact 13 wanted to know why all those phony and altered documents were accepted and whether any judges, commissioners, or doctors would be held accountable.
Some of the operational things down in family court, some of the checks and balances that perhaps weren't followed.
Clark County District Court sent a statement saying they're addressing the issues that allowed all this to happen and that protecting the vulnerable needs a commitment from not only the court, but funding from state lawmakers. Their full statement is on ktnv.com. Darcy Spears, 13 Action News.
New at 6, a proposal is making its way through the state legislature to crack down on squatters. That bill would require leases on single-family homes to be notarized and contain contract information for the landlord. The assemblyman who introduced the bill says any lease not meeting those standards would be presumed false. Opponents say the requirements would be burdensome on real estate agents. They're concerned how it would affect electronic lease signing. This proposal comes after our extensive reporting on squatters. So if you have a problem with squatters in your neighborhood, let us know. Send an email to squatterspotters@ktnv.com and be sure to include your phone number. We're going to put some live video up right now, and this is a lot of fun for NASCAR fans. This is from the Las Vegas Strip, and as you can see, the hauler parade has just gotten started, literally within the past couple of minutes. This is how the haulers kick off NASCAR weekend in Las Vegas, and this is a little extra special right now because yesterday NASCAR announced the Las Vegas Motor Speedway would host a second major event starting next season. The haulers are heading down the strip right now. They'll work their way up to Sahara, then jump on the 15 North and keep going out to the racetrack. The haulers have a lot of fun here too.
Like
they get some well-deserved attention for moving those cars all over the country. Well, a Valley woman has a warning for other dog owners tonight. She'll explain what happened to her dog at the park and why she says other dog owners need to know about it.
And could pot users soon be allowed to smoke in public? That's the aim of one bill making its way through the legislature. Why supporters of this bill say it could mean millions of dollars surging into our economy.
And some wonderful temperatures across the valley today and even tonight. 70s early, 60s later on. Will these last? Your 13 First Alert forecast.
And count on Chopper 13 to put you on top of breaking news, fast and first, and only on 13 Action News. Please stay with us.
The next best thing to a new Honda is now the best thing to ever happen to the used car buyer. Your Honda dealer's 5-day pre-owned all-out sellout. Hundreds thousands of late model, low mileage Hondas at one-time only incredible sale prices. Many are certified and come with an extensive 182-point inspection, extended warranty, and Carfax report. You'll get everything that makes a Honda for thousands less than new. Hurry, the all-out sellout ends Monday. See Finley Honda, AutoNation Honda, Honda West, or Finley Honda Henderson today.
Typical burglary entry is done through the easiest form of entry that they can find. Then they'll use force. They'll either break out a window to gain entry or they'll kick in a door. Oftentimes, by the time law enforcement gets there, the perpetrator's already gone. I found this system with Security Screen Masters being probably the best security deterrent that I could find on the market.
Security with a view. Call today for a free estimate. Protect your home, protect your family. Security Screen Masters.
Dinosaurs come alive! Experience the sights and sounds of over 50 movie-breathing dinosaurs. Countless fun and activities for the whole family. Embark on your T-Rex Planet Jurassic Adventure this Saturday and Sunday in Las Vegas at the Cashman Center. Get up close and see where dinosaurs come alive. For tickets and more info, visit TRexPlanet.com.
It's easy to make your home your way at RC Willey, especially during their coupon event. Enjoy coupon book savings worth thousands of dollars. Now save up to $200 on stylish sofas and sectionals, including leather and reclining sofas, love seats, and sectionals. Save up to $300 on dining and bedroom sets. Enjoy coupon savings up to $300 on many items. Look for coupons in your mail, online, and in-store. Enjoy coupon savings in every department at RC Willey. Your home, your way.
The 13 First Alert Desert Doppler is sponsored by Star Nursery, your garden's partner for every blooming thing.
And breaking right now, police are putting together the details of a frantic situation. Someone opened fire. This is on a highway in Richmond, California. We're told that a man and a woman were shot. That man is in critical condition, but the woman's injuries are described as not as severe. This all happened just before rush hour. As you can see, they're causing that bumper-to-bumper traffic on the highway. Our ABC station in that area is reporting that there are 3 people in police custody in relation to that shooting.
Only on 13 Action News, a Henderson woman has a warning for other pet owners after her dog was injured at a park.
And we want to warn you that some of the images you're about to see could be disturbing to you. 13 Action News reporter Parker Collins explains why people are keeping their eyes peeled.
This is Bruce's happy place. He loves Henderson's Heritage Park. He also loves making friends here. He can't do that today.
The dogs need to run, they need to get their exercise, they need to interact with other animals. You know, I won't let this one person destroy that for him or anybody else.
Just days ago, Bruce got his cone taken off. A chunk of his ear was bitten off. His owner says another dog did this to him in this park. When she tried to confront that dog's owner, she says he just drove off.
We're concerned because you don't want any issues again. I'm also very concerned at the fact that if this gentleman comes back again, I don't want his dog to hurt anybody else.
Yesterday was the first day Bruce was back at this park since he was badly bitten. And even then, his mom didn't want him playing with any other dogs just in case he could get hurt again.
We've had him about 1.5 years. He's a rescue, and he's a good boy.
Other park users say they've had run-ins with this same aggressive dog.
We depend on the other person that's near the dog to discipline the dog, break up whatever's going on, and then they go ahead and play.
Many aren't blaming the dog, but rather the owner. In this community, it's up to the humans to break up any fights. Regulars are watching out for this dog. It hasn't been seen since hurting Bruce. Parker Collins, 13 Action News.
A new bill would allow people to smoke pot in public places. We're going to take a look at what this could mean for local businesses and take a look at what you guys are saying about this on social media.
Also, a man stops breathing after he shot twice with a taser during a confrontation with police. We'll show you some more of the video and hear why his mother says this never should have happened. Stay with us.
Because we sell more furniture than anyone else, we're able to make the best factory deals and pass the savings on to you. Because
furniture, it's all we do.
Welcome to the Fairway Truck Megastore.
If you're thinking about buying a truck, you owe it to yourself to visit Fairway first. Work trucks.
We've got more.
Custom trucks.
We've got more.
Heavy-duty trucks.
We've got more.
Choose from the largest selection of pre-owned and new Chevy trucks in Southern Nevada. Get the truck you want at a price you can afford today.
Fairway Truck Megastore on East Sahara. We are the truck authority.
It's March, it's basketball, it's Bracket Challenge time. KTNV and Sudden Impact Auto Body are teaming up to bring you the College Hoops Bracket Challenge. Get more chances to win with 64, 16, and 14 brackets. The perfect bracket could get you $1 million. You can also win an Ultimate Auto Detail Package or a $250 gift card. Log on to ktnv.com/hoops and fill in your bracket for a chance to win. The College Hoops Bracket Challenge, brought to you locally by Sudden Impact Auto Body, where damage meets its demise.
What if this didn't have to happen? What if we could go back? What if our car could stop itself?
In IIHS front-end crash prevention testing, nobody beats the Subaru Impreza. Not Toyota, not Honda, not Ford. The all-new Subaru Impreza. More than a car, it's a Subaru.
Lease the all-new 2017 Subaru Impreza for $279 per month for 36 months with zero due at signing.
A funky smell in her home turns into a pricey headache.
I was constantly calling, and of course nobody's hearing me.
So she turned to 13 Action News.
That ball started rolling the same day.
We fight for you every day.
You ask, we investigate. 13 Action News, live at 11. What's missing on your morning news? Maybe it's the news.
We've got Chapter 13.
On Good Morning Las Vegas, we have more live breaking news, period. And always fast and first. Watch on any screen starting at 4:30 from 13 Action News.
PlayStation Casinos pedal to the money every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for your share of over 2 million prizes. And earn entries for the Ford Mustang giveaways with drawings every Friday.
New at 6, a Central Florida woman is furious, saying she hasn't been told how her son is doing after a dramatic takedown by police. Officers say the man was caught stealing some money from a store, then showed bizarre behavior while he was inside another business. Dashcam video shows the man fighting back and wrestling with officers before he was tasered twice.
What I seen on the video was my child hog-tied, down, not up, down. They tasered my child 2 times.
His mother says he's paranoid schizophrenic and claims police knew that before it happened, and he also stopped breathing after being tasered. An officer immediately began CPR, and police say he's now in guarded condition.
It soon could be legal to smoke pot out in public. Support is growing for a bill that would allow marijuana consumption at licensed businesses. And 13 Action News reporter David Schumann shows us how this could give rise to a brand new and lucrative industry.
A cannabis vape lounge would be in this facility, a safe place for cannabis patients and cannabis consumers to be able to have a place to medicate.
The progress on this lounge is roughly parallel to the progress on a new state marijuana law. That is to say, the law has only been proposed. But supporters are excited about its chances of going through. They say it'll solve a legitimate problem.
Currently, there are really no legal options for tourists to be able to consume anywhere.
It's illegal to smoke pot outside and illegal to do it in hotel rooms and casinos. State Senator Tick Segerblum's bill would allow businesses to apply for marijuana licenses, making it legal to smoke on the premises. Some people don't like the idea.
As a parent, I wouldn't want to go sit down in a restaurant and my daughter be subjected to possibly getting a contact eye.
Advocates say it's unlikely that would ever happen. They envision age-restricted establishments with rules and regulations. They also see business opportunity in marijuana tourism.
Place for people to safely medicate or to rent their home for events.
Like a marijuana resort kind of?
Yeah, marijuana resort. So we may very well see a cannabis-friendly hotel.
All of this, of course, will only come into play once there are places to legally buy marijuana for recreational use. Industry insiders say that could come as early as July 1st. David Schumann, 13 Action News.
And here's what some of you had to say about this. This is Janice. She says no. She says the same reason I don't like to be where there are people smoking regular cigarettes, not saying you can't have your medical marijuana, just saying that I don't need or want the effects of it. And then our next comment comes from Toe. It says, some things our kids should not experience at an early age, and that's standing next to someone smoking weed. Why not be happy doing it in the comforts of your own home or privacy? And then here's our next one. This is from Yolanda. She says, no, because it smells bad. Just let them do it at home. And then here's one last one. This is from John. He says, if you can smoke a cigarette in public, you should be able to smoke marijuana. So where it's legal to smoke cigarettes, you should be allowed to smoke marijuana.
13 first alert forecast, and wow, after a day like today, it's usually, well, we won't be repeating this much, no, but this time around, yes, there's no other shoe really going to drop. Look at the numbers today from around the region. I wanted to show you these specifically to see how well we've done. We'll take the 81, now other areas showing off the 90 in Palm Springs, or maybe 87. Look at that, Los Angeles, 87 degrees Yuma, no surprise at 89, but that's a nice number, and we're going to grow that by a few degrees, just a few, but be flirting with records probably by the weekend. So last time we've seen 80s, not counting today because we got to the 80s today, November 10th. You have to go back so far, 4 months and many days and even more seconds. Yeah, we do the math here. We don't let the computers do everything. Satellite radar composite. I show you this because sometimes it's good to show you what's not happening, and we're not really getting much in the forecast area. Certainly not rain. I suspect we'll probably pull some of these clouds in the picture, but with high pressure on board, you're not going to see much activity happening. Matter of fact, it might take till, maybe March 22nd, maybe, to get some big weather change in the valley. I just don't see that happening too soon, and that would be your change. So maybe getting some changes that you might appreciate by then, because after a string of hits like we're going to see over the next few days, just some phenomenal stuff. So for tonight, overnight lows, which have been our afternoon highs for so long, still very nice, 56 degrees, mostly clear, mild night. Wind, not really an issue, and I don't see a big wind event just yet. Now, obviously, if the weather changes, we give you the first alert. That's what we're known for, so that's what we'll continue to do. 81 degrees for tomorrow, but see, we'll throw in some of those higher clouds, so I'm figuring those will make their way in the forecast. Even with a ridge in place, sometimes it can't scour out all the clouds, but that's okay, because it's also going to keep our temperatures on the warm side. So if you made it out and about today and you're going, wow, I'd love to do this again tomorrow, you will be able to. Look at that. I hope your boss will let you. Hope it works out that way for you. But either way, look at those lower 80s. Once again, by the weekend, flirting with some records. Be close, but within 4 or 5 degrees. We're also springing forward, so you lose that hour, but you gain all of this. It'll be this. Back to you guys. A lot of that.
All right, thanks, Brian. The founder of WikiLeaks is speaking out tonight after the biggest document dump in the website's history.
See why he's defending the leak that shows the CIA may be using your smartphone or your TV to spy on you.
The cries for a federal investigation into threats against Jewish community centers are growing louder, but where does it stand? I'm Kamasi Aaron. What JCC leaders across the country are asking the Attorney General to do now.
Channel 13 Action News primetime lineup is sponsored by Sudden Impact Auto Body, where damage meets its demise. Make the right choice. Choose Sudden Impact Auto Body, the #1 shop in Las Vegas.
It doesn't get bigger than this.
The AutoNation 72-hour sale. You'll see huge savings on over 100,000 vehicles online, like $13,000 off MSRP. Get to AutoNation fast.
This March, SLS Las Vegas is giving away thousands in free slot play and a BMW each week in our 100K BMW giveaway, only at SLS Las Vegas. As always, enjoy our free parking, located at Las Vegas Boulevard and Sahara Avenue.
The next best thing to a new Honda is now the best thing to ever happen to the used car buyer. Your Honda dealer's 5-day pre-owned all-out sellout. Hundreds of late-model, low-mileage Hondas at one-time only incredible sale prices. Many are certified and come with an extensive 182-point inspection, extended warranty, and Carfax report. You'll get everything that makes a Honda for thousands less than new. Hurry, the all-out sellout ends Monday. See Finley Honda, AutoNation Honda, Honda West, or Finley Honda Henderson today.
Now through Monday at Walker Furniture. Save 20 to 50% store-wide. Then take an additional 15% off. Or pay no interest for 24 months. But hurry, because the sale ends Monday at Walker Furniture.
Las Vegas area, the Great American RV Show is here. March 16th through the 19th at Camping World. Shop over 300 RVs, all the latest floor plans and models at reduced prices, and enjoy free lunch Saturday and Sunday. New 2017 RVs starting at only $113 a month. Speak to manufacturer reps and take advantage of low APR financing and a $100 gift card with every RV purchase. We have it all at the Great American RV Show, March 16th through the 19th at Camping World. Visit your Camping World of Las Vegas or shop online at campingworld.com.
Henderson is a great city with outstanding neighborhoods, parks, and city services, and we can do even more. Hello, I'm Councilwoman Deborah March, and I'm running for mayor to bring new business and high-paying jobs to Henderson, to maintaining our low taxes, and to keep our community safe. Through more neighborhood watch programs with police, I will increase transparency and community involvement through regular town hall meetings. With your support, I'll devote my energies to keeping Henderson the best city in the nation.
It doesn't get bigger than this.
The AutoNation 72-hour sale. You'll see huge savings on over 100,000 vehicles online, like $13,000 off MSRP. Get to AutoNation fast.
13 Weather Kids, sponsored by Adam Kuttner. Injured? Ask attorney Adam Kuttner.
Every weekday on 13, get your daily dose of Judy Justice.
Well, every once in a while you get something brand new. Do you know where you are today?
Weekdays at 4 on 13.
New threats tonight against Jewish community centers, and it's leading to a lot of frustration.
And now the JCC Association of North America is calling for a federal investigation. And Kamazi Aaron found the threats may have an unintended positive impact.
Florida, Kentucky, and Wisconsin, just 3 of a dozen states where people were forced to evacuate Jewish community centers because of bomb threats this week. In all, there have been more than 140 threats since January to Jewish community centers and day schools in at least 33 states. But there haven't been any at this JCC in Denver. Still, CEO Dr. Allie Hill says they're prepared.
So all of our staff have been trained. We've had the FBI here. We've had the bomb squad here. We've also had Homeland Security here. So all of my staff have been briefed on what they would need to do in case we received a threat.
As this center works to be prepared for potential threats, the JCC of North America is pushing federal officials to eliminate them. They sent this letter to U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions, signed by nearly 150 JCC movement leaders. It reads in part, "We are frustrated with the progress in resolving this situation. We insist that all relevant federal agencies, including your own, apply all the resources available to identify and bring the perpetrator or perpetrators who are trying to instill anxiety and fear in communities across the country to justice." The letter asks federal agencies to step up in the way local law enforcement has, something Dr. Hill has seen firsthand.
It looks to me like they are really taking it very seriously, and we certainly appreciate that kind of response from all of them.
Hill says in a way the threats have brought the JCC community closer.
I think that oftentimes something that is meant to be disruptive can actually be the exact opposite.
Still, the hope is that those threats will disappear altogether. I'm Kamazi Aaron.
New developments tonight on the deal to build a stadium and bring the Raiders to Las Vegas.
Coming up next on 13 Action News Live at 6:30, details on another hurdle that could have an impact on when the owners vote on relocation. Plus,
this restaurant sued the president this morning. It's one of 2 lawsuits he's facing this week against his business interests and his administration. I'm Mike Sachs, and it's day 49 of President Trump's first 100 days.
Las Vegas is a city with an estimated 5,000 squatters living in homes they shouldn't be in. For some neighborhoods, it's a nightmare with vandalism, theft, and some fires. Like many of you, we're fed up. Let us know when you see squatters. Just email squatterspotters@ktnv.com. To learn about your rights when dealing with squatters, go to ktnv.com and click on Squatter Spotters under the News tab. Let's solve the squatters issue together and help take back our neighborhoods.
Every day we help people hurt in accidents. Do you know the compensation you're entitled to right now and in the future? Do you need our help?
Golightly and Associates, 222-3333.
I'd rather be.
If you want to know who's got loose slots in town, it's easy. Rampart Casino. Our slots are 34% looser than the Clark County average. Verified. Looser slots.